to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the most listened to daily Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest of all.
Come on, Dolphins fans. Time to fins up.
We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one.
Hello, Dolphins. We're here on DolphinsTalk.com. Mike Oliva, David Behrman here on DolphinsTalk.com to talk about the first week of training camp, what we've seen, what we've heard, what's going on there in Miami Gardens as the Dolphins are on the field. The players are there. The players are playing. We know it's only week one. We got tons to talk about. Mike, good evening. How are you?
Good evening. How are you? Yeah, it's been, I would say, for first week, except for the few injuries in the secondary. I'd say it's been more positive than negative, so that's a good thing. It's pretty good. Yeah. So overall, pretty good first week here. And I forgot to mention, let me get some of the business stuff out of the way here at the top of the show. This show is brought to you by Caneswear.com. Everyone go to Caneswear.com for the best and most affordable Miami Dolphins apparel on the internet. If you need a Miami Dolphins hat, hoodie, t-shirt, tank top, anything for the house, anything for the home with the Miami Dolphins logo on it, Caneswear.com is the website to go. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button for us. Smash it right now. Also, make sure you're subscribed. You are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss an episode. As I try to stumble through this. And sign up for Dolphins Talk Extra. Patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. $3 a month. Private message board, extra podcast. Josh and Aaron, they're recording one right now, an extra podcast exclusive to Dolphins Talk Extra. We got so much other stuff happening over there. It's only $3 a month. Sign up. Patreon.com/Dolphins Talk.
Can't beat that deal. $3 a month, all Dolphin stuff. And Josh and Aaron, I mean, it takes me back to my childhood, not just the song at the beginning, which makes me feel like it's 1993, 94 all over again. But the Miami Dolphins on the field for 2025, obviously a long way to go before we figure out what's going on. And, you read the papers, you follow all the different writers out there, you see the tweets. And I'll be honest, Mike, I wasn't ready. It's July, and all of a sudden my phone's blowing up, and it's nonstop tweets about every single time a player takes a deep breath on every team in the National Football League, because being that I worked for Pro Football Network for 3 years, I had all of the alerts, and I haven't shut them off yet.
Oh, so, God, that's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of alerts.
It's a lot of alerts. I remember I was busy, really, really busy when the toe hurt around the world happened with Justin Fields. And I literally thought that there was he was going to get medevaced to a hospital and get
his leg was getting amputated at the knee. Oh my God. I'm watching ESPN and they're like in tears because you got a lot of Jets people on in the morning. I was like, guys, let's wait and see what happens. Yeah. I mean, it sounded bad, yes, but it ended up being nothing in the end, which is good for the Jets. But it's like, everyone take a chill pill here. Jeez Louise.
It was funny. I woke up the next day and I had found out that there was a player in Major League Baseball, a rookie that had 4 homers in a game and his 5th homer. And I went through my phone and I realized I had no joke. I had 29 alerts on Justin Fields' toe, and I had 2 on the 20th 4-homer game in the history of Major League Baseball.
Let you know where Major League Baseball is these days.
Let you knows where it is. But we're here to talk about Dolphins football, and let's start on the defensive side, because I've heard nothing but good things about the defensive line, about the front 7. Many people going out there saying Chop Robinson is going to be someone defensive player of the year. Let's slow that roll a little bit. Phillips, Chubb, Robinson. Mike, what are you hearing out there about this defense? And we're going to get to the secondary in a second, because that's a whole nother ballgame. Yeah. But the front 7, and they seem to be living in the backfield is what I've heard so far.
Yeah, which is obviously a very good thing to hear. But just remember, folks, since they are it's only July, they're not in pads, and it's practice. So if they're getting in the backfield, what does that say about your offensive line? And so what I've heard in general from people who are there, people who are watching, they've been pretty good up front, obviously. Zach Sealer, even though he wants more money. He wants a new deal. He is participating. Excuse me. He's being a leader. And I think it's a combination of everything. It's never just black or white. They're playing very well. And I've heard more so than the first string offensive line, the second string offensive line is struggling a lot. And there's not much there, which I'm sure we'll talk about once we talk about the offense. So you have to factor that in. Now we are recording this on Monday. Tomorrow on Tuesday will be the first time they're in pads. And that's what we're going to find out. And as they always say, that's where we separate the men from the boys. And we'll find out then, and then we will find out more, obviously, once they practice with the Lions, once they practice with the Bears, all that stuff. But I think up front, you have to be pleased with what we're hearing. Chubb seems healthy. Phillips seems healthy. Willie Gay has been putting on a show every day of the week at linebacker, and that's a positive thing. Again, it's just a week in July, but I'd rather hear that than hear these guys look lost, these guys look slow, these guys look like they're still hurt. So I think it's been more positive than negative up front, which if you're a fan of the Dolphins, that's what you want to hear.
And I think we've known for a couple of years now that when healthy, this is a good defense, especially with some of the young guys they have. And if you have Sealer and you have Phillips and Chubb, and if they're healthy and you mix in Chop Robinson, who's going to be entering his second year, you got some bodies there. They just got to stay healthy because it's very, very thin once they get injured. Speaking of injuries, let's introduce ourselves to the Dolphins secondary, where it took about 35 seconds before Artie Burns and Kohu both got hurt, and Burns ACL. Kohu probably could play if he needed to, but let's just hope he's ready for day one. They signed Jack Jones from the Raiders, signed Mike Hilton from the Bengals. Still not getting guys that we may want out there, but the secondary is beat up already. It was already thin. What is Miami's plan in that secondary?
Beats the hell out of me. Here's the deal. Artie Burns was more of a special teams guy anyways. Now, I don't know if that was their plan for him because, again, they were so thin. Maybe they want him to play a little corner. He goes down out for the year. It stinks, but is that like a huge loss? No. I mean, sucks for him, obviously. Don't want to see anyone get hurt. But from a big picture perspective, not much of a loss there. Kader Kohu's a little scary. That one's kind of scary for a couple reasons here. And again, they spoke today. Mike McDaniel, when he spoke to the media, said they have to wait for the swelling to go down, and then they'll let us know the severity of the injury. Here's what I know. He got hurt, and 10 minutes later, they signed Mike Hilton. And why is that important? Because they're both slot cornerbacks, nickel cornerbacks. If Cater's not there, Miami really, they don't have another guy who can play nickel corner. Now, do I think he's going to be like out for the year, massive injury? No. Do I think this could be what happened to Ramsey 2 years ago, or it's like a partial tear of the MCL and he missed a month, which it happened around the same time, actually, late July, and he was there for week one? It could be that. It could be that because otherwise they just say he's healthy. Or it's like not that serious. He's out a week and he'll be. They're not saying anything. So I think just a guess. It's something like that, what Ramsey had 2 years ago, partial tear of the MCL, not the ACL, the MCL, which is like wait out 4 or 5 weeks and you're like fine to go. I hope that's all it is. I really do. Because
hope that's it, and of course he gets hurt trying to cover Tyreek Hill. It's just like Tyreek Hill it's just that against the whole team. Something always happens with Tyreek Hill.
And I know today as well, Storm Duck, who again, it's Storm Duck at the end of the day. He wasn't on the field practicing. He has something minor, they said. So look, that position group has been struck, and we're not even into August 1st yet. It's bad. Mike Hilton is 31 years old. He can play the slot, like I said, the nickel. I do not want him on the outside. He is it's not that he's slow, but he's not as fast as he once was. Let's just put it that way. And there's a reason he was still unsigned in the last week of July. Jack Jones has probably more upside, more talent. The problem with Jack Jones is a little bit of a head case. I mean, he went to an airport with not one, but 2 loaded guns. And he got arrested. It was the whole thing. And then he was released by the Patriots because he missed, when he was supposed to be in his hotel. Like there's off the field issues with him, and so it's like, once again, there's a reason he's out there. And he gave up 8 touchdowns last year. I'm happy they're here. Do not get me wrong. because we have nothing.
But you
are
make
they done?
the
Yeah.
point. You made the point a minute ago with Mike Hilton, and I'd say the same thing with Jack Jones. There's a reason why they weren't signed. It's not like
Yeah.
there was a long line of people waiting to sign these guys. It is camp has already started. You don't have a job when camp starts. That's not good in any way. Now,
No.
can they help? It's not going
Of
to hurt
course.
them.
Not going to hurt
But-
anybody, no.
We knew going into training camp that the secondary, specifically the corners, were going to be an issue. We didn't need two of them going down in the first 3 days of camp.
Yeah, and it's, and I see some fans, once they started to sign some of these guys on Saturday, they're getting excited, and that's fine. You should be excited, but keep expectations in check. Just because we signed Mike Hill and Jones, don't be like, okay, Buffalo, here we come. It's not that, folks. It's not that. It's like we've slightly improved from where we were on Friday. And they also signed Cornell Armstrong, who's actually picked by Miami in 2018, but he hasn't played in a game since 2022. So, they're adding guys. Are they done? I have no earthly idea if they're done. I guess it depends on, if more guys are hurt, how these guys look. I will say this, from people who are there, Cam Smith, it ain't good. Now, if he was the second, if he
that's
wasn't
the least surprising thing I've heard all summer.
Exactly. So, again, it's a week. You want to give him a little more time, go for it, fine. He's not going to get cut because of where he was picked. But honestly, if he wasn't a second-round pick, he'd be cut. It's just not good. He can't play in this league.
No,
but
you're going to be facing Josh Allen twice. You're going to be facing Mac Jones twice. You need better people than Cam Smith out there and random free agent signing. So that's going to be the trouble spot, especially when you have to card against the pass of the Buffalo Bills, of the New York Jets, of the New England Patriots, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and that's it. Now it's safety with Fitzpatrick now in place, and you got a little bit paid there. Now, I mean, it was pretty much taking some money from next year, moving into this year, and they raised his salary and they turned some of it to a signing bonus. It's not really anything huge, but he's happy. Okay, he's happy. That's all that matters.
It was another day of a million alerts where I looked at it and I go, this doesn't really move the needle at all, but it's moving the needle. Yes, he got a little bit more guaranteed money, but they're just moving money around. This isn't, if anything, it helps them down the line, which is fine. They didn't give him an extension. They had some void years. It was a big news story that wasn't a big news story. And that's what happens when it's July. But like you said, he's happy. And if he's happy, we're happy, because you don't want another player upset about a contract situation. So they got Minka taken care of. Hopefully they'll have Sealer taken care of.
That's nice.
And then you have some time. There's not many other guys. Yeah, we'll talk about the offense in a minute. Those guys are locked up. Chop Robinson and company, it's too soon, too new. They're going to be set if they take care of Sealer. They won't have to worry about many contracts after that.
Yeah, and I think, when we had on Joe Rose yesterday on the show, for those who missed it, it's sort of what we said with him. They have to take care of Sealer, because you cannot preach we're trying to fix the culture for 7 months, and then one of the guys who does everything the right way, checks every box of what you want as a player, on the field, off the field, and as a leader, does everything you ask of him, never gets in any trouble, and you're not going to take care of him.
Yeah,
that's just bad optics at the end. And that's why, if they don't, I'm not saying they won't, but if they don't, that's why people like Mostert leave and say, F Miami. That's why people like Ramsey, who, yes, he is a pain in the ass, goes, screw Miami. And other people leave here mad because they see stuff like this. It's like, what are you doing? Take care of the guys who do things the right way.
Before we move on to the offense, we mentioned Sealer. I'm just going to throw this out here because it's been talked about. We don't know exactly what's going on, because the rumors are the rumors, and I refuse to believe it's because Christian Wilkins kissed somebody on the head. But Christian Wilkins no longer with the Raiders. Obviously, when that got cut, everybody was surprised. Yeah, the Dolphin fans come in here and say, we want Wilkins back. Obviously, he has an injury that hasn't been taken care of. That's the main reason he's no longer with the Raiders.
It's not the kiss. It's because the surgery he won't get.
Surgery. And you hear all the Schefter stuff today, and you hear all that stuff, and taking that all out of the equation, sure, Christian Wilkins coming back to Miami would be an asset to that defensive line with Sealer like he was before. None of us wanted him to leave to begin with. But I am not going to sit here and tell Miami to spend all this money on a guy who just got cut because he didn't take care of an injury. he's got his own problems. I know everybody wants him back, and if healthy, I would take him back in a heartbeat. But your thoughts on the Christian Wilkins saga right now?
Yeah, I wrote something last week that's up on the website. No, I don't want him back. You don't get back with your ex. That's how it works in life. If you get divorced, you don't go back to your ex-wife. If you are in some form of relationship, for the most part, you shouldn't go back to your ex. I know what happens. This is one case I wouldn't go back. Look, he left, which is fine because he got paid a lot of money, and I don't blame him for leaving. Everyone would have took the money and left. But it's time to move on. If we bring him back, then why did we just use the 13th pick of the draft on Kenneth Grant? I mean, come on, seriously. It's like at some point, he was here. It was fun while it lasted. We've moved on, and now and plus, it doesn't even sound like he's healthy. If he's not going to get surgery on his foot, he's worthless to every team in the league. He pretty much got paid. Then he got hurt and is like, I'm in no rush to rehab this. Okay, well, good luck.
You're talking about a guy who played 4 games last year and likely won't play at all this year because you're right. No one's going to sign him if he's not going to have the surgery to fix. Not that the Las Vegas Raiders are a model franchise that we should be following what they're doing, but they're not going to pay this guy all this money and then just cut him if everything's on the up and up.
They gave him over like $100 million, and all they're asking is for just get the surgery and fix your foot so you can play. If you don't want to do that, I don't blame him. I'd be pissed too if I was the Raiders.
Yep. So now there's a grievance. We'll see what happens there, but he's not going to be a Miami Dolphin anytime soon. You're right. He left. Let him go. Let Kenneth Grant take over and see what happens. Now moving on to the offense. So far, we've heard nothing but good things about Tua and the passing game and hitting Hill and Waddle and yada, yada, yada. Like, it seems like things are good again. No pads. It's, loose offense, 7-on-7, a little 11-on-11. I did read that Tua has yet to throw an interception, which is also good. It's early, but it looks like they're firing on some good cylinders off the bat.
Yeah, and it's not just him. It's all the quarterbacks. Zach Wilson's looked great. Quinn Ewers has looked great. Now, again, what do we say about the defensive line? Is it because the offensive line? We know the secondary is not great. We know. But, again, you rather hear positive things than negative things. And, from people that are there, that people I've spent some time with and spoke to over the past week, it's light years better than what we saw last year with Mike White and Skylar Thompson. So it's an upgrade so far. But, again, we're going to find out more tomorrow when they're in pads. And we're really going to find out more once they start to practice against the Lions and the Bears. We'll see, are they just taking advantage of a horrible Miami secondary, or are they actually pretty damn good? I think with Zach, it sounds like, which is not a shock. He was picked number 2 in the draft for a reason. I know it didn't work out with the Jets, and last year he never saw the field, all that good stuff, whatever. He's got a cannon of an arm. Everyone who's there saying he's not just throwing the ball. He's throwing like lasers, fastballs. Like, he can fit it in a tight window with that arm. It's on display. And Quinn Ewers, for a 7th-round pick, is picking up the offense. Now, yes, he can make the throws. That's great. But he's also picked up the offense relatively quickly, which is not a surprise because we said here on this show, when I had on the reporter as well from UT, they run pretty much not exactly the same offense as Miami, but they put in Miami's offense 2 years ago. So he's run this offense or something very close to it for 2 seasons. So the fact he's picking it up like this is good. Again, we'll see more in a few weeks, but all positive signs from the quarterback room, which compared to previous years with Tim Boyle or whatever his name was there, Tim Boyle, whoever, Huntley wasn't even here in camp, Skylar, White. It was a mess. And it's nice to hear. Yeah.
And I wrote the quarterback article on DolphinsTalk.com about 2 weeks ago where I looked at it, I said, listen, I can't make the proclamation in July that this quarterback room is head and heels above where it was last year. At the end of the day, it's all going to determine whether Tua stays healthy or not. But as far as the backups are concerned, through 1 week of camp, you have to be a little bit excited that what Zach Wilson and Quinn Ewers is doing is better than whatever mess we had last year. Now, again, Tua goes down in week 3 again. We're going to be in the same situation with a below 500 team scrapping to make the playoffs. But you do have the former number 2 overall pick back there. You don't have Skylar Thompson, 7th-round pick. Snoop Huntley off the waiver wires. Tim Boyle's won as many NFL games as you and I have. So, which is still an amazing stat that I keep bringing back up over and over and over again. This guy's been on a million teams. And he's won as many NFL games as I have. You have to like that at least they're through a week of camp. There's optimism there where we've seen it before where Mike White looked terrible. Skylar Thompson looked terrible. these guys at least look good through a week. And yeah, we'll see when they put the pads on. We'll see when they start facing the Bears and other teams. But you have to like what you see at least through a week of camp.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's all you want. You want to see, for a 7th-round pick to come in like this, the first week of camp. I don't care who he's playing against. I don't care if they're in pads or not. That's a very good sign. Mm-hmm. Let's hope it continues. And for Zach Wilson, kind of what we heard last year when he was with the Broncos, it was like, yes, he wasn't on the field playing, but every day in practice, he looked good. And it sounds like here, so far in a week, he's looked good, and that's all you want.
Yeah, and I also read yesterday that, Alexander Mattison, who's he's going to be fighting for a roster spot, that he's looked good so far. Again, no pads, no tackling. It is what it is. But he's not going to challenge Jalen Wright for the number 2 spot there at the running back. But at least he's looked good early as a journeyman running back where you want to have depth at that position because he's really going to be counted on for short yardage situations that the Dolphins have consistently failed on pretty much since I graduated high school. So,
yeah. I mean, I hope they run the ball more this year. I think they have to. I think it helps. It helps the quarterback stay healthy too. Like when he turns and hands it off, he ain't getting hit. And if you run the ball more, if you can own the line, win time of possession, you also help out your secondary as well. I think they have to run it more this year. Now, if you're asking me if I have faith in our head coach that he will, the answer is absolutely not until I see it.
No, and you're right. And we had that problem last year. All throughout last year, we questioned the play calling and why they gave up on the run.
3 years he's been here. He gets away from the run too early when it works.
And you hope he's learned his lessons because there's going to be a lot of things that McDaniel's going to need to do to make sure this offense at least tries to do what it did in 2023. And even then he got rid of the running game too soon in games. But we saw in 2023 that when they ran the ball successfully, they were able to pass the ball. Teams have caught on to the scheme when it comes to passing. They need to be able to run the ball, whether it's with the fast guys, with Achane and Wright, or whether it's pounded right up the middle with Madison. Those are guys that need to stay healthy and need to be able to move the ball because the Dolphins have the talent on offense to get it done. It's just the scheming and keeping the players healthy is where the problem's been.
Yeah, Hill's got to keep his head on straight, and QB1 needs to learn to slide, throw it away, or just fall to the ground. Live to play another day. Even if it's 3rd and 2 and you're out there for a pass, which you should be running. Let's say it's a pass. Punt. It's okay to punt. It's not the end of the world to punt.
They haven't figured that part out yet. And we can bash the offensive line all day. Tua got injured last year taking off running. So he did. He needed help.
Once for Houston, once for Buffalo.
So we obviously can't wrap anything up without talking about the Dolphins offensive line. What have you heard so far through 5 days of camp?
All the guys who start have looked good. All the guys who don't start have looked very bad. And we're really going to find out more tomorrow on Tuesday when they're in pads. Now, at center, he's got a very minor injury. It's nothing serious. He's been on the side, so they've had all different people at center. But, everyone's there. They're all healthy. Patrick Paul, a few times, has gotten beaten badly. But again, he's going up against elite pass rushers. He's a second-year player. It's okay. I'm not worried about that yet. And it will happen. Plus, it's practice, so it's fine. But overall, the guys who start have looked very good. The guys who don't, that's where the issue is. And I fully expect in the coming weeks, as we get more into these games, preseason games, as some other teams start to make moves, they will be on the waiver wire looking to pick up a second-string tackle because Larry Borum ain't it. And Keon Smith, who was hurt all last year, ain't it. And I see someone in our chat say, win? Yeah. He's always hurt too. So I don't even know if it's worth it at this point. At some point, you got to open the window and let the stink out. You got to get new faces in here. And on the inside so far, Savane has been fine. James Daniels, he's back 100%. It seems like he's been fine. So far, for the guys who start, thumbs up. The second string, let's see what happens.
Which is really no surprise. And again,
no, because most teams have this issue, but we really have this issue.
We do. And I wrote about it in the offensive line column last week on DolphinsTalk.com that when you're sitting there with Paul Daniels Brewer, our rookie from Arizona, and Austin Jackson, you should have a good line. But after that, Eichelberg's already injured. Keon Smith is always injured.
It sounds like
always injured.
Now look, I know no one wants to see Liam Eichelberg play another snap for the Miami Dolphins. With that said, and I am with you there too. I'm with everyone. I'm on the get him out of town train. His injury sounds somewhat serious. I guess he was seen today for the first time with a compression sleeve on his left leg. It sounds like he's going to be out like not like weeks, like a month or more. That's what it sounds like, and that's what's been the rumor and innuendo that's out there. Again, is he great? No, but there's nothing. There's no second stringers, so they re-signed him. I didn't. They did. So I mean, they kind of need him at some point. Crazy.
They signed him for one reason and one reason only. He can play all 5 offensive line positions.
Yeah,
he knows the system. And he knows it well.
Yeah, and here's in our chat too. How's he looking there? He's only been here a week. He was out there late, much like the cornerbacks when you're talking about the offensive line when they signed from the Titans there. We'll see. I mean, again, he was out there for a reason. He was out there for
anybody at this point. There's a reason for it. I wanted to ask you before we wrap, now that we've discussed pretty much both sides of the ball in terms of what happened week 1, the strapping the pads on tomorrow. Mike, what do you want to read when you're reading the papers, when you're looking at all the tweets? What are you looking to see next week? Obviously, we want positive things, but like what are you specifically looking for?
I want this offensive line to look like it's a real offensive line. Don't get pushed around from Chop and Chubb and all those guys. I want to see this offensive line look, our secondary is what it is. They can add whoever they want. It's not going to be good this year. Okay, I've already made my piece of that. You should too. These guys that they're signing, great. It'll help some. It's not going to be a great secondary. We need that offensive line to be good, though, and they can be good. They got talent there. So I don't want to see, every other play, and there's, false start here. They get called for a whole. Yes, they do throw penalties in practice. They have referees there on site. Holding here, false start here. This guy gets beat badly. This guy gets beat badly, and you can't even run the offense in practice. Every play, you get nothing done. And so I just want to see the offensive line play well. Because I'm not worried about wide receiver. I'm not worried about quarterback. I'm not worried about running back. I'm not worried about the front 7. Secondary, again, made my piece. It's all about this offensive line when they're in pads. And for the love of God, hopefully we might have a unit that's adequate. I'm not even talking about good, just be adequate.
I was thinking just before we turned it on and went that, I was taking my notes. And for the most part, we've been positive, which if you think about how this started a couple of days ago, I was tired of this team after 20 minutes when one guy went to the hospital and one guy tore his ACL. I'm like, I hadn't even fathomed the fact that they had started playing yet. We got a guy sent to the hospital and a guy on an ACL. And yes, at the end of the day, I feel bad for both of them. Neither one of them are going to make a mark on the Miami Dolphins this year. We hit on Burns earlier, but just the aura that you had a hospital and an ACL and you hadn't even turned
then on Saturday at the starter practice, 5 plays in, they lose another corner. And then at the end of practice, they had to take another guy off the field in the cart. So that's in the first 3 days of practice. They had 2 guys have to leave the field by helicopter carts, limping off. It's and they're all in the secondary, I think, for the most part. It's what's going on here? It's been rough, but I mean, look, we have a lot of time too. Let's see what they do. They can always make trades. I still think they should make a trade for quarter if there's one out there. I don't even know if there is. If there's one out there that can be, again, I'm not trading a first, second, or third, but if you want to trade a 6th or a 5th and get someone who's going to be cut, go for it. Go for it. And we got to talk about the report about Noah Fant, the tight end who was in Miami 2-day visiting. And here's the deal, folks. I'm all for it. We need Noah Fant. Now, I don't know how much he wants. I know he also visited with Seattle, I think, and the Eagles, maybe the Saints as well. And he was in Miami today. Our tight end room has guys who can block in Hill and Pharaoh Brown. Waller, I said this when we traded for him. It's no risk, all reward. I get it. So I don't care if he makes a team or not because we gave up almost nothing. Got him. He hasn't played in the year, and he's already on the PUP list because he's not in shape yet to actually practice. Noah Fant's been in the league since 2019. He misses almost no games, and he's been productive every year since 2019. Now, he is essentially what some would say is Jonnu Smith 2.0. A good, not great tight end who's had mild success. And if you put him in the right type of offense like we might have, you might get close to what we lost with Jonnu. If you can get that, sign him. because look, he can't block for shit, and that's okay because we got guys who can block at tight end. We need someone who can make a play in the passing game, and if they can get Noah Fant at a reasonable price, do it. I'm all for it because that's what I think is the last missing piece of this offense. Otherwise, we're not going to have any tight ends make any real plays this year, and you're going to be relying on Hill and Waddle more or young guys like Washington who must step up in a larger role, not eased into it. And you're going to have to run the ball more because you got to make up for a lot of production. Font can probably make up for most of it by himself. And
they don't have him in today for a visit if they thought Waller was going to hit the field anytime soon. Again, you're right. It's all reward, low risk. You did trade for a guy off the retirement list who's not in shape to play. Hopefully he'll be fine at some point, but you don't have Noah Fant in there if you think Waller's suiting up anytime soon. And that leaves a tremendous gap on that Dolphins offense because of how much they relied on the tight end last year. But then again, before that, they didn't rely on the tight end. So depends on what offense Mike McDaniel throws out there. Before we wrap, who's your baseball team, by the way?
Well, I'm a fan of the Yankees. It's not the Cubs because I saw the news. I don't know if you saw it. And Josh is heartbroken right now. I already messaged him. He is heartbroken. And you know what? I probably would too if this happened to my guy from the 1980s, who you can probably guess who it is. I'd be heartbroken too. But
I saw the news came on my phone, and I didn't know if you were a Cubs fan or not.
No, I'm not a Cubs fan. But Ryan Sandberg, the legendary Chicago Cubs second baseman, has passed away. It just seems like a rash of people who are passing away right now. Oh my God! Every couple days,
rough 10 days. Not only obviously just sports, but in entertainment.
Ozzy
Osbourne and Theo.
Theo Huxtable, the Hulkster. But now Sandberg. I mean, he was not a good second baseman. He was a great second baseman on a lot of teams that were lousy. I mean, those teams stunk that he played on, but he showed up every week. He played well. So yeah, that's awful, man. And I know Josh he's taking it tough right now.
Yeah, I haven't texted Josh yet because I just saw the news as we were talking. I was like, oh man, didn't see that one coming. So
no,
it was good. I mean, with 30 minutes of talking Dolphins football, it feels like
we covered the whole team except for special teams. Here's what I know in special teams. The only report I got, Hill has dropped every punt return I think they've kicked to him. So I'm sure I don't even know why they're going through the motions.
And Sanders
is your punt returner. Just let him return the punts.
Sanders has made every field goal, which is great and fine because I've been at enough camps in the college and the NFL side to just even wonder why the kickers and punters are even there because they're off to the side just kicking and kicking and kicking and kicking.
Well, here's the deal with Sanders, too. They gave his number to someone else last week. So right now there's 2 number 7s on the team, which is weird. Like he's your kicker. He ain't going nowhere. Why are you giving away his number? They gave away his number. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you can't do that. So,
kicker, don't mess with this. Here's Josh. I'm devastated. He is. I feel awful for him.
He's devastated, and he even have to talk Dolphins football, and he's devastated.
I know. In July. Oh boy.
So, I'll let you fill what you want with Dolphins Talk on my end. You see it right there. BearmanBets.com @DavidBearman. Go sign up for the Betting with Bearman newsletter. That's what I run. Podcast will be out tomorrow on the Believe Podcast Network. I do that. I help Mike with Dolphins Talk, and you got a bunch of stuff on your end you want to sell.
Yeah, we got a bunch of interviews this week as well. I don't want to say who because every time I say who, something happens. It gets jinxed, this, that, and the other. But check out the one with Joe Rose that myself and Marissa did on Sunday. That was a very good one. A lot of good information. And just check out the website, DolphinsTalk.com, for all the latest news and rumors that are out there. There's been so much news probably since Friday. It's insane. Feels like every 10 minutes I'm putting something up on the website. Someone's getting hurt. Someone's getting signed. This one's going to be in town for a signing maybe. It's just been crazy. So check out the website. And yes, you can follow us on all social media at Dolphins Talk.
Very good. And that'll do it here for DolphinsTalk.com podcast talking about the first week of Dolphins camp. We're going to have more later in the week. We'll do another one of these wrapping up week 2. For Mike, I'm David Bearman. Everyone have a good night.